the first thing that we need to talk about is originally this is now a fight that's been scrapped twice now. Is this the next cursed fight that we're never going to get? Is this the next Habib and Ferguson with for Khamzat and Leon Edwards? They're supposed to fight on that December 17th or UFC Vegas 17 back in December. And now they're supposed to now fight January 20th in the card made just for them. That was supposed to be on the Wednesday night on Fight Island. Now Khamzat Chimaev pulls out of the fight for undisclosed reasons. And is it time to move on from this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think that question's already been answered with Edwards calling out new fighters like Jorge Masvidal, other fighters calling him out like Big Mouth, aka Kevin Holland. Love that. So I don't think this is a cursed fight. I love the matchup. It had some great hype going into it, but we don't know the extent of whatever's going on with Khamzat, and it's not fair to make Edwards wait. You know, like that dude hasn't fought since I want to say RDA, right? July of 2019 or August maybe.
Yeah,
it was either July or August of 2019. That's about a year and a half that he's been on the shelf. Like we need to get this guy a paycheck.
Right.
So.
And also, I just want to see, most importantly, screw the paycheck. I want to see, is this guy still a contender in that welterweight division? Is he still legit? Because he's a fantastic fighter.
He's ranked number 2 and hasn't fought in a year.
Actually, number 3 now, Blake. It's Gilbert Burns to Colby Covington, number 1, actually, right now. Of course, Gilbert Burns finally get their fight with Kamaru Usman. He gets his chance. That's been pushed back a number of times now as well. That takes place UFC 258 in February. Man, it's weird this. I mean, we were kind of talking about this earlier, but I feel like the hype for Khamzat's kind of died down, especially with the last couple things going on. Hate to speculate about someone's health, but do you think there's a real possibility? Of course, that first fight was scrapped because Khamzat tested positive for the Rona, and maybe he's having some complications in his training from that. Still, you would hate to see that, but who knows? Of course, as of recording, we don't have any solid news as to why he is pulled out of this, but that's what we have to go with. But Blake, let's talk replacements at least, though. Vicente Luque wants a rematch, and I'm not sure if he gets it, but just from a fight perspective, I would not be opposed to that. It's a spectacle.
I'm cool off that. There's no reason Edwards has to take that fight, and Luque, I mean, what is Luque even ranked right now? Like 8, 9?
Vicente Luque, he is ranked number 10. So
yeah, see, not even
higher than Khamzat.
Higher than Khamzat, but still not going to do anything for Edwards. Like Edwards is on a title run, right? Like he wants to challenge for that belt. So he needs, if he shuts up Khamzat, and that's a huge, plus for him. Everyone's going to think he's, doing, at least he's doing his job correctly. If he fights somebody that he's already beat, it's not going to have that same shine. He's not taking out the next Conor McGregor, the next Habib, the next superstar. So I think, going the Jorge route, him going and calling out Jorge, it's a good move on his part. There's no chance in hell Jorge takes that fight. Even if he had a full camp, I don't think Jorge takes that fight just because I don't think it's a good matchup for him. So
we're saying it's only a good matchup if you're not in the octagon, but just kind of like in the back locker room areas.
Well, I'm thinking that the fight I think Edwards, Usman, and Colby Covington are they're pretty similar, I'd say, in their fighting styles. Very grinded out, high cardio, high endurance, a lot of volume. And I think that Jorge, he's more of a finesse guy, right? He's more of a guy that he could duke it out with a Stephen Thompson a little bit and hold his own, even though he gets beat by him. He's more of a striker. He's more of a guy that I think would prefer to keep it a little cleaner. If it's going to get dirty, he wants to get dirty in the boxing, right? He doesn't want to get too rubbed up, and have his legs humped too much. So
we saw how that worked out for him against Kamaru Usman. Well, it wasn't much leg humping; it was foot stomping.
So and that's just my opinion. I just don't think his fighting style matches up with Edwards, Usman, or Covington. And we saw the best version of, I think, all three of those fighters. Usman take him out pretty easily. So I don't know.
It's kind of tough, trying to find a replacement fighter for Leon Edwards, especially on short notice, especially that top area of Well, besides it within the welterweight division, it's kind of tough because if you look, a great fight would be Leon Edwards and Stephen Thompson, but Stephen under about a 6-month medical suspension from his fight with fantastic fight with Jeff Neal. That was great stuff. And then so he's still kind of out from that. I mean, Jorge Masvidal not taking a short notice like this. Of course, I would love it. Run it back in a little 3-piece Minnesota. Let's get that action in the octagon. But that fight's probably not going to happen. Gilbert Burns is already locked up. We're probably going to see Jorge and Colby Covington. That has to be the fight to make between these two. So I don't see Covington taking this fight, especially because he doesn't have to. He's number 1 contender. He's not going to need to step down to number 3 Leon. But that's where we get our savior, Blake. That's where he steps in. A man that it's a little messy, so let's take it piece by piece. So Kevin Holland has they announced that his next fight, he's going to be fighting Derek Brunson as of now in the main event on March 20th at a UFC fight night. In this, they're finally going to be able to help settle their beef a little bit. I mean, their beef kind of goes back to when Brunson, this is according to Holland, that Brunson wanted to train against Holland back at UFC 230 when he would fight Izzy. Holland turned him down because he thought they would eventually fight. That's just smart from a business decision. And then after Holland destroyed Anthony Hernandez, Brunson said he'd drop him on his head. And then kind of led into a little bit more from that. And also, Kevin Holland has been vocal about this, that he wants to beat up Derek Brunson because of his awkward style and it's disrespectful to striking. So I really love Kevin Holland here, but Blake, we might be able to have this fight still, but Kevin Holland did announce that, at least on Twitter, he made it known that he wants to fight Leon Edwards. A middleweight wants to move down to welterweight on short notice to fight this guy, a guy that had 5 wins in 2020. How likely is this?
I mean, it's kind of tough, I think, because it's kind of the same situation that we were just talking about with the Vicente Luque. In Edwards' mind, it's high risk, very low reward. There's nothing that's going to benefit him from beating a Kevin Holland. It is for the hardcore, maybe not even hardcore, but just the fans in the know. I think everyone would respect that if he took that fight and beat him. But in the business aspect of things, he's going to beat a guy I'm pretty sure he's going to be unranked coming over into welterweight. Not sure how many times he's fought in that division in his career. I'm sure he's been there, though. He wouldn't just put his name in the hat if he hasn't fought there. Exactly. And he's not even like that high ranked in the middleweight division. I mean, I guess he's top 10. He's top 10.
Yeah, he's a 10 going against number 7 Brunson.
It's tough, man. And another thing that really throws a monkey wrench into this is Holland already is scheduled now for a main event. A main event. The card is built around him and Brunson.
Yeah.
Fight night in March. And that's going to be, about 2 months on the dot, pretty much? Because I want to say it was like March 20th,
March 20th, yeah. So it's
that fight would be on the 20th of January, right?
So, 2 months,
pretty much
exactly.
2 months on the dot. And I'm sorry, but fighting Leon Edwards in a 5-round, main event, unless you get him out of there quickly, you're probably going to take a little bit of damage. So if you do the Holland Edwards fight, you're probably losing the Holland Brunson fight in all likelihood.
It's really tough situation for both these fighters and the UFC.
If you look at the welterweight rankings, nothing interests me. And what would interest him? Like, it sucks. The only people that I would really be interested in him fighting is Jorge Masvidal, Gilbert Burns, or Colby Covington.
Not even Wonder Boy?
Of course, but he's out of the picture.
Yeah,
because
that medical suspension sucks.
I was gonna say, dude, yeah. Before we brought up
that's like a perfect one.
Oh, that's a good option.
It's a perfect one, but nope. It's a tough. This is kind of when I do not envy Sean Shelby in his job with UFC matchmaker, because this
is a cluster.
This is a tough little problem. If I had to bet money on this, I would just say that this main event. I hope not the card, but at least the main event, I think this whole thing is just getting scrapped. Man, I think they have
the whole card's getting scrapped?
Not the whole card, but at least the main event. It's tough, though, because the card might go.
I think Edwards will fight for the right price and the right opponent.
I just don't know
to fight. He literally put out that he will fight. So if they offer him the right person, He will accept.
That's the thing. I just don't know if there's a second dancer for this fight. I
think someone like what if a Chiesa steps up or a Magny?
I believe Neil Magny and Michael Chiesa are actually supposed to be fighting each other. Yeah,
on that card. Forgot.
Yeah, so that's exactly all of the options are off. Jeff Neal against Leon Edwards, but then we go back to Jeff Neal's probably out. But then even with that whole thing, I mean, Leon Edwards probably wouldn't want to fight that because it doesn't do much for him. He wouldn't want to go
any further than Stephen Thompson.
The weird thing with Kevin Holland is that from a fighter perspective, I totally understand this, especially Kevin Holland. He's a guy that just goes out and scraps with anyone, anywhere, anytime. And I love that about him. But if you look at it, I mean, he has that fight with Derek Brunson. A good win over Brunson might be able to propel him at least right up there next to the top 5, if not in the top 5. Probably not, but it could get dangerously close right there. Maybe one fight away from a title shot, depending on how things go. But if he goes to the welterweights, that's a whole top heavy right there. It's just weird. This whole situation's weird.
Well, keep in mind, it's a business, bro. Holland isn't like most fighters. Like he doesn't care. In my opinion, from the outside looking in, I'm sure that he would love to have the belt. But keep in mind, this is his job. Like he understands this is how I get paid. I pay my bills. Like I buy my house with this money. So I feel like he is more after, what's my best opportunity to put fucking money on my table, and provide for my family. And I think that's the route he's going, and that's why nothing scares him. And he's not going to shy away from any of these huge opportunities that you don't see everyone pounding the table for. You only see a couple, 2 or 3 guys here and there, really asking for these guys on short notice. And Kevin Holland, always one of those guys, 100% of the time. So it's hard not to root for a guy like that, hard not to pull for a guy like that, a guy that when he first came out, I didn't really know what to think of him. I just kind of thought he was kind of a jerk off a little bit, but the more we got to know him a little bit and, hear his story and see his personality, like I've really started to enjoy everything about the guy. I mean, the guy he comes to work and he just puts his hard hat on and gets to business, but he talks shit while he's doing it. And that makes it even, 1,000 times more enjoyable. So it's tough, man. It's a tough situation for both divisions. The Leon Edwards versus Khamzat Chimaev fight falling out is probably the worst thing that could have happened right now.
Chimaev's turning into a killer, man. Like outside the octagon, he's turning into a fight killer.
Could have happened.
He was on such a hot streak too. Like
now,
he had all the momentum.
I feel like welterweight and lightweight kind of, I don't know, like they just kind of messed with each other. We got that bad juju vibes going over to the welterweight division,
right? Is it going to spread? I swear, if this spreads to the middleweights, I'm going to be furious.
Yeah, no, we just keep it where it's at. Just figure it out, and then
let's quarantine this problem. Let's make sure it doesn't spread.
We need to socially distance this problem.